I am your host, Mariam Rabiu, and thank you for joining us today. Here is the newsreel for today. Federal government targets completion of National Library in 21 months. The federal government has set a target of 20 to 21 months to complete work on the National Library project. The Minister of Education, Professor Tahir Momman, stated this on Tuesday in Abuja during a tour of the project as part of his first public engagement. It will be recalled that the library project was awarded in 2006 to Massey's Reynolds Construction Company, RCC, and since then the project has suffered setbacks due to the inability of various. The edifice, which is located at the plot 35 of the Central Business District Abuja, has been a worry to many stakeholders in the education sector, given the incongruous state of the current rented apartments of the office. It consists of 11 floors, consisting of 2 basement floors, a ground floor, and 8 upper floors, as well as a perimeter fence, internal roads, and others. Recently, the government approved the takeover and financing of the multi-billionaire library edifice by the Tertiary Education Trust Fund, TET Fund. However, leadership observed that during the tour, there had not been any sign of progress at the site so far. But the minister, who was accompanied by a delegation of education stakeholders, emphasized that the project is very important to Nigeria and needs to be completed in a short period. On insecurity, TET Fund disburses 550 million naira to Kaduna College of Education. The Tertiary Education Trust Fund has disbursed the sum of 550 million naira to the Kaduna State College of Education, Gidanwaya, to address insecurity in the institution. Executive Secretary of TET Fund, Architect Sonny Ekono, disclosed this on Monday when a Kaduna State government delegation led by the state governor, Senator Ubasani, paid him a courtesy visit at the fund's headquarters in Abuja. Ekono, who noted that the disbursement was beyond the normal allocations, disclosed that the fund also disbursed 500 million naira to Ahmadu Bello University Zaria for the completion of one projection, in addition to making it a center of excellence. According to him, the same amount was also given to Kaduna State University to complete some projects in its Kafanchan campus, adding that the fund will expedite action to complete some projects in the university, which earlier had challenges. The TET Fund boss assured that the state government, the TET Fund boss assured the state government that one of the public tertiary institutions in the state will benefit from the TET Fund Special High Impact intervention in 2024 after the cycle of 6 years since the state last benefited. He further pledged to look into the appeal lodged by the state governor to assist the Nuhu Bamali Polytechnic Zaria in expanding its programs through the building of a faculty of agriculture. He described Kaduna as one of the states that the fund has enjoyed the most support, adding that Kaduna hosts the Northwest headquarters of TET Fund, adding that it is not by accident, as the state used to be the headquarters of the entire northern region of Nigeria. According to him, the Kaduna state government allocated a very prime location for the fund's headquarters with the building on it that the contract for the construction project will be awarded in the next coming months. For his part, Sani requested for more intervention and support from TET Fund in some of the very key institutions in the state, stating that he was also at Fund's headquarters to make more effort to ensure that interventions to institutions within the state are released sooner or later. ASU urges federal government to release members' arrears or risk industrial peace. The Academic Staff Union of Universities, ASU, has asked the federal government through the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation to release outstanding promotion arrears owed its members in the interest of industrial peace and harmony in Nigerian universities. The union stated this following a National Executive Council NEC meeting held at the University of Maiduguri. In a statement released on Thursday, ASU said it was also disturbed by the news of employment racketeering perpetrated through the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information System. The NEC noted with serious concern that ASU members are currently owed arising from distortions traceable to the forceful enrollment of academics on the Integrated Payroll and Personal Information Platform. NEC observed that the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation has failed to address the issue, this in the interest of industrial peace and harmony. Kano State government cuts tertiary tuition by 50% for indigents. Kano State government has slashed tuition fees for indigents of the state in the state-owned tertiary institutions by 50%. The Commissioner for Higher Education, Dr. Yusuf Ibrahim Kofar Mata, who made this known in a statement, said the resolve is to alleviate the compounding financial hardship for the good people of the state, thereby slashing the registration fees for the indigent students across the state-owned tertiary institutions. He said that the decision was made during the meeting with the head of tertiary institution, the visitor, and the governor of the state on Tuesday afternoon in the state capital. His Excellency, the Executive Governor of Kano State, Alhaji Abba Kabir Yusuf, has issued the heroic approval for the slash of 50% of the registration fees for all Kano State indigents studying at state institutions to cushion the worsening economic condition the people have been going through in recent days all over the nation. Gambia begs Nigeria for more postgraduate scholarship, seeks NUC supports. Gambia, one of Africa's English-speaking countries, has solicited for postgraduate scholarships in Nigerian universities for its students. The Gambian Minister of Higher Education, Research, Science and Technology, Professor Pierre Gomez, made the appeal during a courtesy visit to the Acting Executive Secretary of National Universities Commission, Chris Mayaki, in Abuja. Gomez, who commended Nigeria for laying the foundation of university education in Gambia, said most of the principal officers, including the Vice Chancellor in the first university in the country, were Nigerians. While commending the quality of Nigerian universities, the minister said Gambians who had earlier undergone postgraduate programs in Nigerian university under the World Bank-sponsored African Center of Excellence now play strategic roles in the country. He said Gambia was particularly interested in postgraduate scholarships in science, technology, engineering, and mathematics programs. The minister, who also called for support in the area of capacity building, said they still have developmental issues and they strongly believe that higher education can change the situation. Mayaki expressed delight that the visit came on the heels of the recent launch of the core curriculum minimum academic standard in the Nigerian university system. Speaking further, Mayaki said Nigeria has also opened up its higher education space to attract major players across the globe through the transitional educational guidelines put in place by the NUC. On the request for postgraduate scholarships, Mayaki urged the Gambian minister to send a formal proposal on the specific program and universities of choice in order for NUC to process the request. On out-of-school children, UBEC engages stakeholders on implementation of action framework. The Executive Secretary of the Universal Basic Education Commission, UBEC, Dr. Hamid Bobodi, has urged the state governments and other critical stakeholders to be focused on the implementation of the national framework of action designed to address the out-of-school children phenomena in Nigeria. Boboi made the call in Abuja at the regional stakeholders' engagement and the national framework of action to tackle out-of-school children's menace. He said that the menace has given the country a negative reference on educational development strides and aspirations in the global scene. The stakeholder sensitization meeting was earlier held in some other regional centers including Kano, Lagos, and Port Harcourt. The Executive Secretary expressed the commitment of the federal government toward providing inclusive education practice where no one is excluded or denied the opportunity to access education. Agile to construct wash facilities in 110 Unity colleges. The Adolescent Girls Initiative for Learning and Empowerment Agile project is set to construct water, sanitation, and hygiene facilities for 110 federal Unity colleges in the country. Agile is a World Bank-supported program under the Federal Ministry of Education. A press statement issued by Linda Irabo, the communication officer, said the program is to improve the quality of learning environments in Unity colleges across the country. The Permanent Secretary, Federal Ministry of Education, Mr. David Adejo, stated this at a technical workshop with principals of the Federal Unity colleges from the southern and northern zones of the country, which are Uyo, Akwa Ibom State, and Kano State respectively, to enlighten the principals on the modalities of the intervention. The Permanent Secretary, represented by the Director, Senior Secondary Education, Hajia Bint Abdul Qadir, said the project intervention was compelled by the federal government's desire to make secondary education more appealing to learners and teachers. University John harps on measures to improve Nigeria's education sector. A retiring lecturer with the Department of Finance and Banking of Faculty of Management Sciences, University of Port Harcourt, Professor Prince Owakama, has urged the federal government to regard the universities as strategic assets to economic development of the nation. Owakama said education should be seen as a wealth creation process, adding that if people are educationally equipped by the government, the issue of threatening poverty and instability of the economy will be tackled. The University Don made this assertion during his valedictory lecture held at the institution's premises recently. He urged the federal government to improve the education sector by tackling all the challenges bedeviling it, which he said has led to several strike actions by university management across the country. Speaking on the topic, crisis in Nigeria's federal universities, is cash the culprit? Owakama said the perception of university degree and diplomas of other institutions of higher learning as a meal ticket and status symbol fueled corruption in the country. He observed that the attitude of seeing education as a mere commodity for consumption has persisted till date. What the society got was a crop of educated elites not so skilled in the practice of wealth creation. Consequently, they became victims of pseudo-educated that viewed education strictly as a status symbol and a meal ticket. Owakama advised further that the education should be seen as a wealth creating process whereby the more people are equipped to create, the more the available resources will be expanded. He said the outcome will tackle the problem of funding education and reducing poverty. And now on the foreign scene. France to ban wearing abaya dress in schools. France will ban children from wearing the abaya, the loose-fitting, full-length robe worn by some Muslim women in the state-run schools, the country's education minister has said ahead of the back-to-school season. France, which has enforced a strict ban on religious signs in state schools since 19th century laws, removed any traditional Catholic influence from public education, has struggled to update guidelines to deal with a growing Muslim minority. French public schools do not permit the wearing of large crosses, Jewish kippahs, or Islamic headscarves. In 2004, the country banned headscarves in schools, and in 2010, it passed a ban on full face veils in public, angering many of its 5 million strong Muslim community. The move comes after months of debates over the wearing of abayas in French schools, where women have long been banned from wearing the hijab. The right and far right hand pushed for the ban, which the left argued which encroach on civil liberties. Unlike headscarves, abayas occupied a gray area and faced no outright ban until now. The French Council of Muslim Faiths, a national body encompassing many Muslim associations, as said items of clothing alone were not a religious sign. Defending secularism is a rallying cry in France that resonates across the political spectrum, from left-wingers holding the liberal values of the Enlightenment to far-right voters seeking a bulwark against the growing role of Islam in French society. And lastly, business schools to build hospitality schools in China. A new partnership between Les Rochers Business School and Mountain Education Group is set to create a unique network of hospitality-focused higher education campuses in China. The first campus will open in Shanghai in 2025, to be followed by campuses in other high-potential areas such as Wuxi and Suzhou. Les Rochers already has campuses in Crans-Montana, Switzerland, and Marbella, Spain, with more than 100 nationalities enrolled. The hospitality school will be responsible for academic curriculum development within the new campuses, with Les Rochers appointing the principal and academic teams as well as the backbone teachers. The curriculum will be aligned with that of its flagship campus in Switzerland, and vocational education will be combined with undergraduate education. Through the new campuses, Les Rochers will continue its mission of ensuring students acquire personal and professional skills for immediate employment and progression into leadership positions in the country. Meanwhile, MEG will be responsible for all financial investment, land acquisition, architectural design, campus or project construction, licenses and permits, financial management, student recruitment, and logistical arrangements. MEG CEO Mr. Zheng said that for many years the education group, which operates in K-12K bilingual schools, has consistently pursued an idealistic approach to education. Through the inaugural campus, Shanghai Mountain Les Rochers campus, the partnership aims to bring a unique model of education and architectural design to the city of Shanghai. The campus building will be designed and built by a team of world-renowned Pritzker Prize-winning designers. And that is all on today's edition of Education Telescope. Thank you for joining us. I am Mariam Rabiu. Bye for now.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.